don't think that the Delhi is going to come and then create a city and then go away like modern cinema and all. It will be public-private partnership, and you will be also partners in that.
Yes, sir. And we also believe that smart electricity will have a very important role in creating smart cities. And we also know that your ministry has been seeking ideas and expectations from various stakeholders for the smart cities. And the meeting which you did a few days back at Vigyan Bhavan with the states, in which we were also present, sir. In this hall, we have very eminent individuals and very eminent industry which is present today. And I'm sure they will have a lot of ideas and thoughts on what they feel is smart cities. And I'm sure that you would like to hear them, a few of these individuals who could contribute to the whole thought process. I would now request the members, past presidents sitting here, the former Secretary Power is here, Shri Uma Shankar ji, maybe you have questions. So whatever question can be posed, but more than questions, probably at this point of time, the vision of 100 smart cities is developing. And if we can contribute to that from the smart electricity part, which is our work. The floor is open for the minister. Could you please introduce yourself and then ask the question or the suggestion?
Good morning. My name is A.M. Naik. I am from Bharat Bijlee and also the chairman of Rotating Machine Division of IMA. My suggestion on this is to Honorable Minister Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. Sir, you talked about 3 crucial points of metering the power, energy efficiency, and making the smart cities. See, today, out of the total power generation, about 45% power is consumed by industrial electric motors. Industrial motors are consuming high power, for which there are internationally standards have become mandatory of Power Ministry, DIPP, and Commerce Ministry. And with them, when there are 2 different standards were there of standard efficiency, energy high efficiency. Fortunately, high energy efficiency standard has come in a place, but it is not mandatory, it is optional. So today only about 10% production is in a country becoming of energy efficient motors, and 90% is of standard efficiency or low efficiency is happening. This has resulted into the developing countries, developed countries are dumping their low efficient product in India. And in the last 3 years, in our electric motor alone, the import has gone up from 300 crore to 1800 crore and likely to touch this year 2200 crore. And whereas the domestic industry production is at no growth or minus 5% growth. We are struggling on that. So our request is to make this standard which is at a place mandatory in line with all developed countries. That is number 1. The number 2 is that Honorable Mr. Power Minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal has made one bold statement about a week back or 2 weeks back in a parliament saying that old inefficient power plants, more than 25 years to be scrapped. Why not similarly for electric motors also? Because oversized, inefficient motors, millions of motors are in a usage in a country.
Right.
And if they give 2% power saving, it will be a huge power saving to the country.
Thank you for your suggestions. I'll convey to Sri Piyush, and then about the first one, I'll keep it in mind and discuss with my other colleagues, and then we'll try to take it forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. This is mostly a suggestion. Questions, more than questions, suggestions are welcome, because government want to know what other additional steps can be taken and what is there in your mind with smart cities, if any. Please.
Sir, good morning, sir. My name is Ramesh. I am representing solar structure manufacturer. We are a small manufacturing unit. Over the last 5 to 6 years, by producing solar structure and giving it to the industries, we have accumulated huge excise duty and educational cess. And that has crippled my company And today we are at the verge of closure. Because this, since we concentrated on only solar structure and we have done away with all the excisable activities, this is a particular huge component of my resource which has got stuck, and we are into severe cash flow crunch. So what I would request your honorable minister is to consider, like rooftop solar structure, the subsidy is given to the end user, wherein here also in the megawatt scale, if you consider that as a small intermediary, I would be billing to the EPC with excise duty and educational cess, which will come in my cash rotation and which will help all the small solar structure manufacturers in a big way. I think I have given you a small piece of note on that issue, sir.
Thank you. But one thing you must understand, government also should have its own revenues. Revenue is one is excise duty.
Yep.
That's one way of getting revenues. The second is why end user is given. One is to benefit him. Second is to increase the demand. The more and more demand means your even cost of production also will come down, and you will also be able to survive or benefit that way. But anyhow, the note which you have given will study.
So, but at the same time, if the, see, what I also request you is, I'm a small company which have got few crores of turnover. Your central board of direct taxes to refund this amount, say after 2 months or 3 months, then it would be greatly helpful to us.
Okay.
Let us see. I can't give any assurance without talking
I
to my
know
finance
that I
minister.
think Mr. Jitle will also
Yeah,
come into
yeah.
picture here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. May I request members to be brief
Yeah.
and to the point so that it is more participative and many other people can participate.
Anybody?
Yeah, good morning, sir. My name is Vishwas Nendulkar. I'm Regional Director, PME Project Management Associate. I have a suggestion. For a smart city, you don't need only a smart leadership, you need smart people. Our graduates who's coming out of the systems are not employable. So first thing is, I think, in the curriculum, you need to have change the curriculum to make them smart. There is second suggestion, the largest sector of the industry is MSME, which cannot afford to give training. So training is something which is important. Now, there's the intake of people in the power industry. People go to IT. IT has got a lot of manpower. So there has to be some incentivizing or some sort of funds to train people, in the smart and
Now, I see
also
the point. There is a need to train even electricians and electrical people
Exactly,
also in
sir.
a big
Exactly,
way.
sir. Yeah.
But I can tell you, the Prime Minister has decided to set up a separate ministry for skill upgradation and training.
Get-
The earlier in Gujarat, he was providing 800 crores per year. Though the union government have allocated 1,000 crores last year in the budget, the Gujarat state alone was spending around 800 crores. So this government have created a new ministry. There is a new minister also, and a dynamic secretary has been appointed recently, Mr. Sunil Arora. I think they will be able to come up with much more ideas for skill upgradation. And this 25th, myself and Surface Transport Minister, Road Development Minister, both of us are joining together in association with other industry friends to have a summit on this skill upgradation in the country. This is an area where we have to upgrade the skills which are existing. Ma'am, you were saying? In democracy, you cannot appoint. They have to be elected. People has to be elected. You elect smart men.
Yeah.
It's only election, no selection. But unfortunately, in this election, correction also has become a part of the life. We have to know. That's why I use the word change of mindset. Let us see how. Please.
Good morning, sir. My name is Vijay Karya from Ravi. Sir, you have been emphasizing on the renewable energy, and one of the problems of renewable energy is the subsidies which flow through MNRE. My suggestion was to scrap subsidies given from MNRE, just scrap the whole subsidy scheme, and why not give a 200% income tax benefit to the people who put up these rooftops, like you are giving for R&D. Why not give a 200% income tax benefit, which would greatly help spur investment into this
Just
sector?
send me a note. I'll
Sure, sir.
go through it and then I'll pursue with the finance minister.
Sure, sir.
To what
Thank you.
extent it's practical, and ask the department also to study it. Scrapping subsidy and then giving relief in income tax. Yeah, please. He has already taken the mic. Okay. Whoever it is. One at a time.
Okay, my name is Sanjay Kulkarni. I'm a chairman of a company called Scope T&M Private Limited. It's a SME sector. We talk about a lot on the smart cities, smart grid, and what is more important in these areas is the measurement. So the meters or the transducers which are going to give us these inputs, and then subsequently you connect it to the SCADA and then take the things to the higher level. Metering requires a good attention, and there should not be any compromise into it. We have been practically in the countries getting fairly well stabilized in the process industries. In electricity, we have been struggling hard, and now we are coming to the area where we are going to get settled down. But as you said, in the water management, particularly in the urban areas, well, a lot has required to be done into it.
Right.
So
I,
that is what.
I take your point. I am already aware of it and we are emphasizing.
Okay, thank you.
Myself, Bapu Amrutkar from EMCO Limited. Sir, there was a very good initiatives taken by the government. One was privatization of distribution franchises. As you are aware, that today the distribution losses are to the tune of 55 to 60% in whole the country. If you could see one of the beautiful model in Maharashtra given to Torrent Power for Bhiwandi, the 55% losses are brought to 10% and they're further getting reduced. If we can focus on this and give a topmost priority and make it mandatory to the utilities to do that on a topmost priority, it will help the nation to bring down the losses.
Good
That was number one. Number two, in most of the utilities, most of the losses happen into transmission and distribution. So the transformers play a very, very important role. Today, the losses, determining of the losses are left to the utilities. If a mandation can be made that for this particular rating of a transformer, these are the losses which must be mandatory to be procured. And the specs are finalized from the Ministry of Power or through CEA, that there is nothing. Because today, high losses transformers are being procured because the initial assets have been looked into it, that is the initial cost. So if we look that initial cost is not important, but the running losses are more important, then that will help also to minimize the losses. These were the two suggestions.
Thank you. I'll share it with Mr. Piyush.
Thank you.
Myself, Gopal Kavra. I am also chairman of Minding Wire Manufacturer Association. My friend talked about the rotating machine. I would like to inform you, sir, that motors, new motors are less in the market, the more are the rewinded motor. And every year in India, 1 lakh ton of enameled wire is made of non-pure copper, which consume more electricity. Same way in house wire, building wire, the unpure copper are manufactured. I request, sir, that government should make a law that pure copper should be used in electrical products.
Motor rewinding is permitted and rewinding is necessary in the rural areas. You can't expect everybody to purchase a new motor. But what you are saying is pure copper has to be used.
Yes, sir.
Rather than
because electricity is free in many of the states, so another farmer is realizing that he is paying more electricity because it's free. But this is a big business, and most of this use of non-commercial copper is they don't pay excise also, and mainly in Sadra, Delhi.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, I'm Pannalal Viswas, CEO from Inphase. My request, sir, for this smart electricity also requires for a smart power supply also. And if you can emphasize something on the power quality also for each city, because many people will be using many kinds of product, and in terms of motor like transformer, everybody is using. But if government can make some kind of restriction on the power quality, especially, so that automatically, everybody will comply. And nowadays, actually, in most of the household items also use a lot of electronics item like whether TV, refrigerator, UPS, everywhere. It produces a lot of harmonics and it distort the power quality, and which also in turn making losses of the transformer and motors are very higher as compared to the 10 years back or 20 years back, what kind of power quality issues are there. So it may be good if you can also bring some kind of in terms of power quality for the
It's
smart
already there,
city.
no? BSI, that standardization of the products already is there. Okay.
Thank you.
So my name is Vikas Patharkar. I would like to tell that whatever engineers we are getting, we talk of generation, transmission, distribution. One of the part of the system can be SCADA, which is related to IT section. Nowadays, engineers who are coming out for core industry, that is electrical core subject, I think the left out people from IT, communication, telecommunication, they opt for this electrical subject. And the quality of engineers who are coming out, I should not, but it is with due respect to everybody, it is very bad. People are not able to do anything of that sort. People cannot do any kind of development. They cannot do anything by these quality engineers. The Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, they have closed down their high voltage activity. Mumbai, IIT, their electrical engineering department is going to close down. If we are going to operate at 1200 kV system, and if we don't have people for basic electrical engineering design, I think it will be a very bad situation.
What is your suggestion?
My suggestion is that we should have core electrical engineering subjects in many of the colleges, because in Mumbai, out of many colleges, only 2 colleges have core electrical engineering subject. Other colleges, they don't have it. They only promote IT and communication.
It all depends on demand and supply, na?
But nowadays, if we are talking of these 100 cities, generation is going to increase, transmission is going to increase, and distribution is going to increase, then electrical core engineering subject should be taught in a proper way.
The employability, people are looking at employability. Then they are choosing the courses. IT create employments at some time. During that quadrilateral, civil has created employment. Then interest rates were less. Housing was a major attraction to that time. Construction, the other sectors have this thing. But it all depends on demand and supply. You have a real concern, but it has to be decided by the, market forces only.
Yeah, I see Mr. Murugesan of CPRI.
Sir, good afternoon. My name is Murugesan, representing Central Power Research Institute. Our friends were talking about the standards for rotating machines. But when come back to the smart electric system to be implemented for smart cities, various hundreds of equipments are going to be connected. And the main thing is that they need to follow standards. Actually, many of the projects have failed because of a small thing like making a common protocol or communication or common standard. Many of the projects have failed. So this is very, very important. About 200 plus standards need to be implemented in the smart grid, smart systems. So in that respect, we are all working with all the companies in India, all are our friends, and Central Power Research Institute can play a very important role to implementing standards for connecting all the devices, smart systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Murugesan. You can also give me a note while taking the states on board about the standardization.
Yes.
From the CPRI, you can prepare a note with smart cities.
Yes, sir.
The need for standardization. You can give me a note. You send it to me or send it to Shankar Agarwal, my secretary. Either of it.
We'll do that, sir. Thank you very much.
I am Satish Nadkarni, President of ACE Consulting Engineers in Mumbai. We are working on renewable energy sources and developments. I congratulate you, sir, for listing tidal energy as the third one after wind and solar. I hope I heard you rightly, because in the MNRE's programs and all, tidal rates at much lower level. And unfortunately, there is no beginning made as yet for developing tidal source of energy. Although Gujarat has done something after that vibrant Gujarat of 2011, but for the last 3.5 years, it has not yet seen the light of the day. And the one important feature of this tidal energy, I would like to point out to everybody, is that it is even more predictable than even solar or wind source of energy. Wind source we know is not controllable by humankind. So solar energy, it is available only for 6 or 8 hours of the day and not generally in the monsoon also. But tidal energy is the one type of solar natural source of energy which is available throughout the year. In fact, for this purpose, I would like to suggest this title of the conference is not only 24/7, but even 12/24/7.
Thank you.
And encourage and expedite the development of the tidal energy in the whole country. There are 7,000 kilometers of the coastal line available, and still no beginning has been made for the solar tidal energy.
Thank you, sir.
What is the worldwide scenario? Can you throw light within one? Worldwide, how much is the tidal energy?
Worldwide, Europe people have they made a lot of progress. They are adding even thousands of megawatts of tidal energy and of course more of offshore wind energy, because they have got very good wind energies in the oceans of creating up to 14 meters per second or so, whereas in Arabian Sea and elsewhere, it is only hardly about 4 meters per second. So offshore energy, wind energy, will be very difficult to develop. But tidal energy can be developed very near to the shores, not like even wave energy, which is also deep in the oceans.
Right.
And so it should be much easier to develop, sir.
Thank you.
I see somebody from slightly outside our industry, Santosh Kumar from Texas Instruments.
Good morning, sir. This is really a great opportunity for us to be here. One thing that I would actually like all of the industry people also to consider is that when we really come up with smart, we actually talk about pointed solutions that are there at home that are actually smart and able to do things in a heterogeneous way. What is also interesting is to consider if they can also be connected together, and we can actually look at a holistic solution that takes care of traffic management as well as security and safety of the people and all of that. And industry as a whole can actually put forward a lot more thoughts on it when you look at a holistic picture and not look at it as a pointed solution.
Thank you. I will be happy if Raj Iswaran can take initiative and then correct the opinions of different people and come out with some meaningful suggestions for a smart city and smart electricity. That will be kept in mind by the Government of India, and then it will be useful for us also.
Thank you, sir.
Certainly, sir.
Yeah.
Just I want to add with Mr. Murugesan of CPRI that a lot of funds are to be invested for research and development, because research and development where we are lacking to build something smart enough. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Anand Agashe from PRS Pharmacy Lambarnath. Sir, can we use certain tamper-evident solutions that will certainly help to minimize the transmission losses at the last time?
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Mulchandani. I'm from Thyssen Group Uday. I have few suggestions. If we focus on energy efficiency, energy saving, energy conservation, and energy monitoring, that itself will be enough to meet our target of smart city. I think instead of concentrating on too many areas, if we focus on this will reduce the gap between the generation and demand, and that itself will save a lot of energy and make the city more smarter.
Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
Sorry, sir, if you permit.
Please.
I'm tempted to make a comment here. Imagine it's warm outside and half of us are wearing coats and pants and reducing the temperature here in the hotel, consuming more energy. So would AIMA take the lead to ban wearing suits during summers and keep the temperature high. That is point number one. Point number two, you know, for any idea to sustain, there are four important things. In a democracy, it has to be politically acceptable. It has to be socially desirable. It has to be technologically feasible. And finally, it has to be financially viable. So whenever you put up an idea, you must use this as touchstones. Otherwise, you know, you'll have myriads of ideas and we will find it difficult which one to pick. So my request to Mr. Ishwaran would be that please consider all the suggestions that have come up. But measure them on the threshold of these four parameters, because if it's not politically feasible, it's not socially desirable. And if it's not financially viable, that's very important. Because we come up with idea of tidal energy. All these are excellent ideas. But as the Honorable Minister rightly said, we are in a competitive environment where we have to look into the aspects of economic viability because there are competitive alternatives available. So please measure that so that when you send those suggestions to Honorable Minister or to us, you have measured them on those grounds and we don't have to do that sifting and probably throw out an idea which probably is required rather than, you know, accept the other one. So that is my suggestion to you. And finally, package those ideas in a manner that they become intelligible to the person who's going to listen and work on them. You may be technically very sound, technologically very sound, but you should have the art to package them in a manner that it becomes intelligible to me, who's not you know, I'm technologically challenged. But nonetheless, the idea may be very good. So your acumen is in terms of articulating your idea in a manner that it becomes intelligible to the other. Thank you very much.
By the way, financial service people also are here. They need to fund it in a bigger scale, this electrical sector. They should also play their part, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
It will happen, and what Anuj said, if it is viable, then only they will fund.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Prakash Chandrakar from Senator Electric. Let me try to package it. I take your point, Mr. Swaroop. So that's the point I want to make. City is comprising of many subsystems: water, electricity, gas, cable. Now, if we see, there is no planning below the ground. Whenever we make a city, we start digging. So there are 4 times: one time for water, one time for electricity, one time for cable. Now, if urban planning department can come with some guideline saying that, guys, though there are 4 different verticals, 5 different verticals, 10 different verticals in cities, can be for transportation, water, gas. Can we have a kind of a guideline that when we are building the cities, this is how we should be going as a planning? And not that after city is laid and then we start digging it. So we should have a planning below the ground, we should have a planning for above the ground. And I think per square feet, whatever is the, like we have a rate, a circle rate, we should also describe some kind of a KPIs. What should be electricity consumption, what should be the water consumption, what should be the different kind of consumption what we have.
Yeah.
I think if this kind of planning guideline can be there, which will help to really build the cities smart.
Thank you. This gift city in Gujarat, they have planned this and they have made a presentation before me. I also have it. I have to now take the states on board and also the urban local bodies also.
Good afternoon, sir. I am a past president of Nasik Industries Manufacturers Association, and we have a small scale industry manufacturing some electrical components. However, it has been noticed that with the smart electricity, we do not have smart testing facilities in all over India. And for that small testing facilities also, none of our laboratories are approved in international standards. That's why I request you, if the testing facilities are available in India, that will make easy to manufacture the products and get it approved. Second thing is that we have to pay hell of a money for getting testing and approvals in the international market. So please look into the matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have an announcement to make. The media people in this hall, if they can move to the Dynasty Hall, which is next door, we'll have a press conference for Dynasty. Is that?
So,
Sir, that is the name of the hall where appropriate arrangements have been made. So that we'll request the Honorable Minister to move to that hall in another 5 minutes because he has to take a flight back to Delhi. And I would also request our EC members and past presidents, many of whom I see on the front rows, to please.
Okay, can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, as I'm
Briefly,
not very,
please.
yeah, Mahesh Patenkar from MPN Systems. I just have a suggestion on smart cities. I think we need not have a New York kind of infrastructure. I think as a part of the smart cities, we have to go to some of the ancient techniques of building cities. So I hope the Honorable Minister would direct this entire new smart city concept, which also has some vernacular architecture integrated into the design. That's the first suggestion. And the second suggestion is we need not really go for a very heavy investment into the equipment and so on. What needs to be done is also very stringent performance parameters, which can actually help us benchmark the performance of the smart city vis-a-vis the other cities. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we'll have a lot of investment that will go into the meters, transformers, glass facade buildings, and the performance will be a lot suboptimal. So just a couple of suggestions for your consideration, sir. Thank you.
Yes, please.
With a lot of suggestions on improving the products.
Just closer to your.
Yeah, with a lot of suggestions on product improvements, improving the efficiency of the transmission and distribution system. I request the industry and also the authorities to kindly give focus on the quality of the electricity. Because with more and more smaller generations getting connected, the quality becomes the challenge. For example, there is a lot of talk on harmonics, the spikes, the quality of the voltage that reaches to the consumers, the industry. That needs a proper control and regulations. To that extent, if regulations are coming in, that will help the society and also the various products, the manufacturers. Yeah, as my friend says, regulations are there, but it needs to be implemented. Because the society, the industry is looking for measures. If measures are there, I'm sure steps will follow. So I request the concerned authorities.
We'll have just one last question now.
Sir, I am Deepak Khandelwal. I am member to Executive Council IMA. I just want to share an experience. I was doing a transmission line for one fixed generation plant, and the line was stuck up in stage 2 clearances of the forest. When I got the clearance, I was to complete the line, but then I came to know that plant cannot run because the railway line has stuck up in the forest clearance. After railway line was clear, then the pipeline got stuck up. So the same forest was to be cut at 3 locations, 3 time applications are filed. This is the very small suggestion, but the cohesiveness of bringing all infrastructure together to the smart city does take place. It will certainly improve without any extra cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Since we are a little short of time and the minister has to take the flight back to Delhi immediately after this, may I request Mr. Vishnu Agarwal, the President-elect, to propose the vote of thanks to the minister. And
friends, what a delight for all of us to have Mr. Venkaiah Naidu with us this morning, to hear him what he had to say, to enjoy his sense of humor, and for the interactive session which he had with our members. Sir, this is the first day today interviewing you, and maybe it is the effect of the electrical equipment community which has put you in a different focus, and I enjoy your sense of humor. What a sense of humor you have. And it's not the sense of humor alone.
starting from Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji's thinking, a little bit of which I know, who was the thinker for what stands today in BJP and who was a doer. Starting from that thinking, modifying it to meet the challenges of the global world today, that is what you and your ministry are doing, sir. Friends, I find a very, very welcome change. We all know that this ministry is for the people of India. The new ministry, as Mr. Naidu said, does not believe in saying that businessmen are untouchables. The Prime Minister had said so, and Mr. Naidu repeated it. But over my long period of being in industry and having situations like this, I saw that every time there was a clamor from the members to tell the minister or the authorities to remove regulation. They said that the industry is too much regulated. Today was a change where I found a lot of questions and suggestions from a member saying, no, the government should regulate. Is it a situation where we really feel that the change has come in? I think that's a real mark of testimony to the change that has been brought in the thinking of all the people by what this new government is doing. Sir, once again, as I stand here, the entire electrical equipment industry is highly indebted to you for your coming to Bombay for this function, for sparing your time, and for interacting with each one of them. The success of any program depends on the interest it generates. And had it not been for the